So this is the picture that Tanya made, and she says she's just putting paint on canvas. She does not know any techniques. She would like to learn some techniques. She just started a few months ago, and this is an evergreen leaf or branch or something, and I don't know if you can see really, if you're close up, there are little tiny berries, red berries in there. And actually, it's only her phone that made this look reddish or yellow. It was a white background, she said. So I thought I would try to work with some, I looked for some picture of something similar, and this is the closest thing I could find that I thought would be helpful to show some techniques with. And so I'm going to put this over here, and maybe I will have to bring it back. Apparently this camera doesn't rotate for some reason. So one of the first things is I want to show how it's best to just fill the whole surface of the canvas. I don't want to use too much water with acrylics, because it makes it weak, and then it actually could fall off later on. So I'm taking some burnt umber. I'm going to just put it on this a very large brush, 2-inch from Artist Loft. It's pretty cheap. I'm using the cheapest acrylics I could find. I mean, I've got them on sale from Michael's. And I thought at first I couldn't stand them, they were no good, but then I discovered if I had the blending medium, here's some black. I don't usually use black because it doesn't look as good as if you mix blue and dark brown, like burnt umber and dark blue together. Actually, I need another thing with water to keep the things in so they don't dry up. Keep the brushes in. So this is an early effort to show my interactive painting teaching technique. So I only just discovered that it makes it totally different if I'm using the gel, the blending medium. Here's my holder for my brushes. Something out of a box. I like it. Once it gets really crumbly, I throw it out and get another one. So now let's see if we can do something with burnt umber. I already used a lot of burnt umber. Wow, that's funny. Or maybe I didn't. I'm using up a lot of paper towels. You can probably find a way to do it that doesn't use so many paper towels, but it's pretty convenient. Now, I don't even know why I thought I was using some of that already, but maybe not. So, you know, I'm just making this up. There's not, I don't really see that there on, but the idea is to first of all have a general picture, a general composition for the whole painting. Now, somebody might say, oh, this is an abstract painting, it's all done. That's what you want to do. You want to have it look like it's already a finished abstract painting. Before you even add any... Oh, I forgot to say that I tint my canvases. I like this kind of color, very sunny. It's like a sunny yellow comes through. or you can cover it up completely, but if you, usually the little pieces of the canvas stick through and show through, and then they're white, that just takes over and you don't really see anything else. Alright, I think I'm going to try a little bit of, okay, I'm going to put some medium and do a light blue, light sky blue, which we do see some of that, you know, we certainly see some sky blue stuff coming through. See now, that's where it made it really thin, and now we already have some glazing effects. See how, plus it's still wet, so it's mixing together. So I think it's nice. It's kind of like, now there's 3 colors already there. 3 colors showing through the canvas, the tinted color showing through from below. Now I'm picking up some black. Now, I have no idea how I'm going to do this really, but there's so many different ways to try it, to go about it. But the thing is to make a painting that always looks good. Or instead of having one little piece of it all finished up and a lot of detail. Can you see that? Can the camera see where I'm painting right now? Mm-hmm. I like this. It's like a very, it's getting to be a foggy or a pastel blended effect. I'm putting a little more of the blending medium on, which I bought the cheapest blending medium. Is this it? Yeah, slow dry blending gel medium from Artist Loft. I think it was $2.50 for the stuff, which is quite a lot of stuff. And so it kind of, I like it. It's kind of fun to just brush in, and you're getting an effect of 3 colors, as I've already said, but it's kind of like still exciting to me, so I'm going to keep saying it. Like, so you're just picking up some colors from next to where you're painting into, and then you know, I'm not really going from what's in the picture, but by using the colors that are already on there, I'm getting an effect called a limited palette, which gives it a unity. It gives painting a unity just by the fact that the same colors are everywhere. That doesn't make the painting that much interesting by itself. So now I'm going to add some green. I don't know why I only have light green, but well, let's just assume we can't afford to buy all this stuff, whatever we want. So we have to work with what we have. And now I'm just indicating this evergreen leaf stuff. And I have a fan brush, which I think is going to be very fun to use. I should have some Naples yellow. Well, anyway, I have some yellow here. I can mix it with white and brown. And try to restore, if I want to restore some of that yellowish stuff, I mean, I'm painting in it where it's black, it's not going to paint over it really. It's not drying that fast, obviously. But now I'm seeing adding a little bit of yellow, and now it gives it 4 colors. It's sort of like 4 colors in one place area. And greenish, yellowish, brown, everything is blending together. And really, to me, the blending gel is making all the difference, just all kinds of difference. Because I love oils, because they're so blendable. And but this blending medium, I don't know why, I've never tried it before, is pretty nice. Now you can paint back into it, you know. I'm painting back into where those little leaf things are, those needles, I should say. Painting back and blending into them. With a lot of the medium, blending gel medium. Now we're coming over here, see if that's already pretty dry, so I'm getting a really blended look. I mean, it really, it's an overlay. It's called a glaze. One glaze, one layer is on top of another. That's called a glaze if it's transparent. If you can see through it, it's called a glaze. So now you have a combination of those different colors because you're seeing through the top layer. So you see that the beige, the light yellowish, I don't even know what to call it, very light beige, is still there throughout the painting, and it's really giving it a unity. And in the original we have a lot of this yellowish stuff showing, and it's out of focus. Then we have this blue sky showing, and we have green from leaves showing, and darkness. So those are the four things in the background, I would say. That's enough to work with. That's plenty to have to deal with. So obviously, after a while, you have to clean off the brush. I just do it a little bit, and then I throw that one out and get another bunch of paper towel. Here's a really high glob I just noticed, so I'm going to just brush that in. Oh, I wish I knew where my dark green is. I'm just going to mix a little bit of the blue in with the dark, in with the green, and get some effects of needly shapes. Probably could use some of the raw umber too. Mix it in there and get it that dark. Some part of it just so looks like shadow in there, you know. So I forgot to add the blending medium. Pick up some blending medium. And because I just wanted to add a little bit of that shadowy effect to the green, or whatever is there. There's already a lot of colors and stuff there, colors and shapes, and so I'm just adding shadowiness. So all of this is it's very abstract, really. You want to try to look like an artist, not like a human, not like an average person. You look at shapes, and it can be fun just to brush the paint around. And so you're building, you know, you're not starting with what's obvious, what's literal, what's like a berry and a leaf and a... Here's some more, these are like that. They are, not leaves, what is it, bird? Needles. And they're much too thick compared to what's there. But we're using the brush the way it is, you know. And I'm trying to get a lot done quickly so that we have something to work with. Now we say, you know, it's a painting. You could say it's an abstract painting. put it in the Museum of Art, and it's worth $6 million. Museum of Modern Art, I mean, sorry. But we don't care about that. We just want it to look nice to us. So if we're painting something for Christmas, I guess those berries are going to make it look nice. Green and red Christmas colors. So I really like the way this right here shows through. It's really hard to get all the colors exactly right with the video. And I'm just going to blend this here for some reason, I don't know why. I think that blending it is going to make it look nice. Nicer. Gives it an atmospheric effect. Atmospheric. Sort of, I think it's re-wetting the colors. Well, it's actually also, this stuff is white when it's wet, and then it dries transparent, so it's not going to show you exactly how it's going to look. You have to get used to it and learn how it works, or else buy a more expensive one that goes on clear. So here's a bright spot where the sunniness is showing through. And there's a really bright spot. I really like that. I feel like that's the most fun part of the whole painting somehow. But I think I want to show you that how you can paint. One way to get the detail is to paint over what we did. And I wish I had my Naples yellow paint, but I don't. I'm going to try to sort of replicate the background there. So just to show you how, if you want to make the needles sharp, you can paint the background, paint around them, and define them by painting the background. I'm not really doing it very, very carefully. So it would have been better if I had prepared that color. Here is very, right, that's close. That's really close to the background color. Now, you put that in there, and now you have thin needles, you know. But it's also transparent, so you also get a transparent effect, or an atmospheric effect, or an out of focus effect. The out of focus thing is very pleasing to the human brain. So when we do a sharp painting, something is sharply in focus, like a portrait, or this is a portrait of some evergreen leaves with berries. And if we have that in focus, then we want to have the rest of it out of focus. At least that's my thesis for this video. It's really not easy. I see some white in there, and I'm just putting it on there without thinking. Obviously, I'm just talking to you, and I'm not thinking. I'm just kind of going by stuff that I've done over the years, automatic. I'm on automatic pilot. But it's kind of nice to take off some of this stuff with the paper towel. That gives a texture that you might want or you might not want, and you can paint back over it again. So as far as an abstract painting is concerned, I think it's a really nice abstract painting. So that means it has a good composition. Relatively, it's an area of really dark and then an area of a lot of stuff happening. I'm a little upset that this is the most beautiful spot, because I don't know why it's there and not somewhere else. But I think I want to get rid of this light part in the very bottom corner, because there's no reason to bring the eye to it. I want to sort of subdue that. Alright, I'm going to add some more gel. I think I just added some white, because it's hard to tell this the difference between the gel. Yep, that must be the white. So the gel looks like white paint. I have to put it in some part of the palette where it doesn't get confused with the white. So again, I'm going to make some blending and do some blending over here. Just playing with blending. I'm not trying to make anything happen representationally. Here is just the blending, this is the blending medium. Looks like white paint at first. But I'm really excited about this blending stuff. Now it looked like it was slightly blue, which is my favorite color, so I always get excited when this stuff starts looking like sky blue. So I'm afraid to touch that because I feel like that's the most, I like that part of the painting, the color where the sunniness is coming through. And I almost feel like I don't want as much of it to happen here because that's competing. There's two different places competing for your eye, competing for your attention. So I'm going to tone down this beige yellow here in this area with some blending, and I'm also making, at the same time, I'm making the needles sharper, or defining the needles a little bit more. This is not, I'm trying to do this painting in 20 minutes, so it's not going to be super realism by any means.
By the way,
yeah,
it's been like 25.
It's been 25 minutes? Oh my gosh. That's terrible. So,
sorry, live 22.
Alright, I'm going to wrap this up because I've already gone way over the time that I was going to spend. So I'm going to take a smaller, wait, I want to try the fan brush. I want to do something with the fan brush too. I'm going to mix a little bit of blue and... So the fan brush can, depending on how much paint and water you have on there, you can make. Yeah, see now we're having some real needles in focus that are, you might have to practice this on a different surface before you get it. So I'm just going to try to get to the point of putting the red berries in there. Now, this is going to dry out really fast because it's so thin, so I'm going to put it right in the paint in the water. Now, this one is a really small, okay. Actually, I won't use that one. I'll just clean this. I really like these 3/4 inch, I think it's a Taklon bristle. The white 3/4 inch synthetic. They're very fine and they're very nice to do very delicate work with, I think. I mean, they're cheap too. So, do some more of the blending into the where I just did that. Alright, I guess I'm supposed to try to wrap this up. Wow. Time flies when I'm having fun. And it is fun. So what's really the most funnest is when you get to the point where the painting, it takes on a life of its own, and you're thinking, wow, what does it want to do? Sort of, not literally, but it's almost like the painting is telling you what to do next. That's alright, forget that. That might not be for a beginner. You might not feel that way at all. But just like you feel like something is there, it's real, it's becoming real. It's It's not just some dream, some hazy dream. In your mind's eye. It's actually there. It's something, I don't know what it is maybe, but it's there. So it's taking on a life of its own. And that's, I think that for most of us, that's the exciting moment. It might take months, or it might just take 20 minutes until you feel like you've got something that has a life of its own. So I'm adding the flesh color. This is actually flesh color, but it's the same, pretty much pink, like adding, like red with some white. And I'm pretending that the light is coming from the left, because it kind of, a little bit of it is in this paint, in this photograph. Now I've got too much on there. I'm just taking it off with my finger, because it's accurate enough to pick up some of that paint, and then just wipe it off with a paper towel. So I would blend this more. That can all be blended a lot more if I don't drop my brush, which I just did. So now I have to clean the floor a little bit. So now I think that the burnt sienna has a lot of red. It's a brown with a lot of red in it, very beautiful brown. People have used it for centuries by itself, just like a drawing in ink, sepia. It's called sepia, and that's reflecting or echoing the red of the berries. I'm going to put maybe one more berry in there. Oh, now I've got, okay, now I'm going to have two together, kind of close together here. Obviously you can work on refining all the shapes and all the colors, and I don't know, there's a lot more that one can do to make all the colors work together. I'm just going to try doing cutting more background in there. And then I'm going to, bring it out so it doesn't look like an accident. I'm just adding more of that same whitish, off-white, beige, white. Now the shadow of my easel is bothering me, because that top is suddenly the top is a little bit too bright. It's the brightest thing in the painting, so it's attracting the eye. Usually the eye is attracted to the brightest spots. And that color matches this color, so I'm going to add a little bit of that. I know I went over. Hope you'll forgive me. I'm taking longer than I was going to. But you can always pause and fast forward. You can always fast forward the video if you get bored of part of it. So I'm really afraid to touch this, because I think that's the focal point that I want. I mean, for the background. Obviously we're going to have focal points in the berries and the needles, but I'm going to blend this part. That's going to be much better if it's blended, I think, right there. Oh yeah, so all these little sharp-edged events that happen because of the fan brush are really grabbing the eye. They're saying, I'm important, I'm important. I'm a little detail that is important because there's no other detail in here. So you've got to look at me. It's sort of like shouting, These things are shouting. And if you blend, everything that's blended is like soft. It's like whispering, and it's like much nicer. I didn't understand that at all when I was young. Couldn't understand why people kept blurring things out. I wanted to make everything really strongly, obviously defined. I wanted to be able to define things. And that's really not that hard to do that. It's almost harder to blend and soften things. Or at least it was hard for me to think of it, about it. To think about blending and softening. So now I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt sienna to here and soften this really hard-edged shape here. And it's really pretty hard-edged here too. So I'm trying to blend this stuff. As I said, because the human brain likes that. Likes the blended, soft background stuff. Like when a photographer is taking a portrait and everything else behind it is just out of focus. I think I'm going to put some in that white, in the top of the white there, and see if that illustrates the idea that the whitest parts attract the eye the most. See, now I'm still basically using this. Oh no, I'm mixing a little bit of the burnt sienna with a little white, yellow and white, and a lot of the blending medium. So I'm getting it brown, and I'm modifying or blending or dulling down. I hate to use that word because I don't want it to think it's dull. I don't think it's dull. I think it's actually very live because there's a lot of different colors, layers lying on top of each other there. So it's not dull to look at, but it's not as bright as this part here that I like so much, which I'm afraid to touch. And down here it's also more, well, I don't know if you can see it in the video the same way I see it here now, but anyway, it's also brighter here than it is up here. And I'm going to make it a little bit darker towards the top edge, outer edge, because they say we shouldn't be leading the eye out of the canvas. We want to make a painting that allows the eye to rest within the picture that we're making, and not feel like it's sort of falling off the outside edge of it. So I'm thinking that to finish this off, we may want to, maybe how we would do that is just to get some of the lighter colored green on the needles and put some, we can use this thing at an edge, use the edge of this to define needles. Just by going sideways, like a crab. And obviously I'm not following the shapes that are there very literally at all. But there's this lighter color on some parts of the needles or around the edges of the needles. So that is there. And I'm not trying to make very, very clearly defined individual needles. I think you can see that you can get a painting to work with very quickly this way. You may not be happy with it, but you can change it. This is all dry enough to paint over now. This is really, that's what's so cool about acrylics. You know, you can just paint over it, and if you don't like it, you just change it. And then now actually in there I see some light blue reflections off the some of the needles too, so I'm going to try Getting some really light blue,
At 35 now.
35 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Maybe the light blue will look good too. Another thing that we can do to make it Christmassy, since I think Tanya was trying to do a Christmas theme, is we can take the circles, they're sort of, light seems to blur in a circular way or a rounded way, and that would give us a theme that can be repeated throughout. Now I have this as a bluish, isn't it? Let's see what happens if I try to put it on here. I just make a circular thing, effect, a circular thing, and now another circular thing, which can look like either the circle made by the light, or it might look a little bit like Christmas tree ornaments. And for some reason I feel like making a silvery one somewhere, but I don't know where. So maybe I'll only put it in partial and I'll hide it behind something else. Now that's changing the nature of this painting. In terms of design, from a design standpoint, it's really changing it a lot. Because that's as bright, almost as bright as any other part of the painting. Does that make sense? Does it look like? Now I feel like putting this in here. I don't know why. So I'm painting over all that detail that I had in there from the paper towel and stuff, and I'm just going to do that. So now this looks like it's curved a little bit, you know. This part there almost looks like an ornament, and the light is shining through an ornament. Now I think I'm going to have to come back and blend this, because this is very sharp edged and it's really competing for attention with the rest of the stuff that was supposed to be the center of attention, namely leaves or needles and the berries. That was my intention, to make those like the center of attention, and I don't feel like I've figured out how to do that well yet. And do it well. Now I'm mixing a little bit of darkish, greenish, grayish stuff, because I think this, if I put some in here, with a lot of the blending medium, that's going to tie this whole dark area in a little better with this other green over here. Make the whole painting look like it's about greenery and sunlight and Christmas. Now I can already blend in here. Ooh, that's so exciting. It's dry enough so that you can still see the outline, but I can blend into it and over it and have it be out of focus. See how it's looking like an ornament or something rather that's sort of hidden in the leaves or in branches or something brownish, greenish. I think I'm going to put a little, see what happens if I add a little more of this green with a lot of the blending gel down here, and maybe a little bit up there, but I think I'm going to add lots of blending gel so it's very, very transparent. It doesn't look like it right now because it's white until it dries. It's kind of whitish, and so I think this also is too, there's too much detail in sharp focus over there, so I'm doing it there too. So I think it would be a good idea, a good thing to have the berries be really clearly, okay, I don't like this red, this straight line here. So I'm now decided to blend these two straight lines. Because they look unnatural in nature, you know, there are not too many straight lines in nature, sort of thing, like that. So I'm going to just put something over that. It's not anything, it's just something to break the line, to stop the line or soften the line, or, and I've still got all the same kind of colors on there. If I go too long, I can make it all into a gray mess. It can become a gray mess, that's for sure. And I just recently read a quote. It's very interesting. It says, "It takes two people to make a painting. First, the person who makes the painting, and then there's somebody to kill the other guy before he ruins the painting." Because you can just keep on going and messing, making more and more mess. Now I feel like these two spots here are very looking sharp-edged and very defined, and they're not saying anything. They're loudly saying nothing, which I don't like that. So I'm blending those. I'm trying to blend into or over them, and maybe I should even give them a little bit of different shape, because it doesn't make sense what shape they have. Now that makes me think I can have some needly shapes that are in brown. Could be sticking out, you know, in the shadow. There's some needles that are there, but they're more in shadow. And there's not a lot of them, because they're going to be really make everything look very busy if we put too much of them in there. And the same thing can be lighter than the background here and darker than the background over here. Now I feel like I still want to blend this bright greenish bluish thing with lots and lots of blending medium. And I'm almost as new at this as you are, because I haven't used the blending medium with acrylics. So we're discovering this together. And hopefully when we make mistakes, we just learn from them. Oh, I think even though in the original picture there's no sharp shadows on these berries, I think I'm going to add some dark shadow to the berries just to make them stand out. I'm going to put this in the water because all this acrylic stuff dries up really fast if it's... I'm going to take all these... This one seems to have been cleaned off, but I'm scared. It's terrible when a brush is totally dried out and then it's dead. So I'm going to put these in there, and I'm going to work with a really small brush. Mix some blue and brown into the red. Oh, I have a darker red here too, which I forgot to use. Oh, now I'd like to have my mahl stick. It's right next to you. Yeah, I'm going to do more detail, like real detail here, so I can lean against this mahl stick and be able to not have my hand shaking, brush shaking. So I'm, as I said before, I'm pretending that there's some light coming from the left, from our left, my left, and the viewer's left. Therefore, the shadow should be on the right-hand side, see? Should be there, if there's a shadow on the berries, it should be on the right-hand side. So now they look very dark and foreboding, not very bright and cheerful. I think I'm going to pretend there's a whole bunch of more of them hiding in here somewhere. So I'm just going to put a little bit of an indication of more berries over here. So that gives you the feeling that there are berries everywhere, but you just don't see them all. So now I'm going to take this bright red and see if I can bring out the brightness again. I think this paint is pretty watery. It's pretty thinned down, and that's why it's cheap. So it may be hard to make really bright reds. Sometimes we go forwards and then we go backwards. Go 3 steps forward and then we have to go backwards. 2 steps backward, then 1 step forward, then 3 steps backwards. Now we have very flat looking red dots. Oh, yeah, so we can take that pink again, which is actually supposed to be flesh color. No, I guess I have to clean my brush because I have some brown and gray on it. And I'm going to take the pink and really go back over this edges again. Edges of the, the highlight part. I think I have too much.
I like how we're going to do a 20-minute video and it turns into 50.
Well, like I said, if they don't like it, they can fast forward. Yeah.
It just shows them how fun it is.
It is fun. I'm really having fun, so it's nice. It's fun to have fun. Now, I think that what's going to make the difference, all the difference, is to put a highlight on. You know, the original photograph is not really that fun. It's not really that great. It's not the best photograph in the world. Whoever did this, thank you, but I'm going to try to put some highlight in there on the berries, even though the light is really coming from behind. If we have like a highlight, it will make them look more real, more solid, and also more shiny. Now I'm putting them all to a little bit to the left. You know, the highlight is on the left there. I do feel like probably once it dries I could get more bright red on there. I mean, the red is bright when you see that on the brush. It's just so much water in the paint that it doesn't lie there and really stay that bright. It might do so once the paint dries. And it's also not lying, it's all globbing up a little bit. So if you have suggestions, you know, leave a comment. I'm gonna, I think I'll stop here. No, I don't think I will. I just thought of something I want to do, which is to add some real sharp, shadowy shadows of needles. A few sharp shadowed needles. They're in mostly brown and blue. So it's going to be important how they go. It's very abstract, but okay. I'm turning it over because for some reason it's getting thicker at one end and thinner at the other end. So I'm just making this up. I'm just using technique instead of trying to paint what I see. I'm just making lines with my brush. So I think that has potential. May not be that perfect like what we really wanted right now, but I think that gives us another dimension to it. And then we can paint over the things that we didn't like. That looks too regular. So I'm going to blend into it, you know. But now I think it's got that, it has almost that personality. That I was hoping for. I do want to now I feel like putting another Christmas ornament just to the right of those. And I don't know why. You don't have to figure all this stuff out. It's not really much fun if you have to figure it all out. You just kind of do it and change it if you don't like it. That's how you learn anyway. I'm going to take some yellow. Oh, all the yellow is mixed into stuff. All the yellow is gone. So I'm just wiping off part of my palette so I can put more yellow on there. I think I'm going to mix some yellow and pink together. I've got a little brown on here which I don't want to mix in, so I'm wiping it off. Some of this dried up, it doesn't matter. So I have the pink that's called flesh color and mixing it a little bit with, wow, that's a very strong, okay. I forgot to use the blending gel medium. Blending gel, this is it. Slow dry gel medium. Because I really want it very transparent. Like it's a transparent piece of glass in there. Oh, now that's really nice and transparent. Very, oh, of course it could have highlights on it too. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop it. No, I'm not. Put a little more of the same highlight. Try it in here on these dark ones. And add a little bit of green to it. Now I could be getting, it could be going too far at this point. But I think that this is too strongly defined and I'm going to sort of blend it just by painting over it a little bit. Some people say it's nice to have paint texture. So it's not a print, it's like special, it's different. Alright, I'm going to stop now. I'm not going to make the best painting in history. But hopefully it gives you an idea of some techniques. We'll call this video Techniques for Tanya. See you next time.